we go. Hour 3. Good show today. Live in L.A., it's The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Herd brought to you by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above in 15 minutes. Great reporter Chris Mannix, who's been covering the NBA for years and the Celtics for years. So Chris Mannix is terrific. He's going to join us live. Brad Stevens now will replace Danny Ainge as the new president. He'll dominate the drafts and free agency and deal with the agents and run the franchise. My guess is, and Chris will report on this, is that they just didn't want to lose Brad Stevens in the building. And it's not that Danny Ainge was a disaster. He's got two of the best trades in the NBA in recent years, but we'll find out. So this is a big move. This is a big franchise, a big move. There was a rumor a couple months ago Brad Stevens was in trouble. Now Danny Ainge is out and Stevens replaces him. So we'll have Chris Mannix in 15 minutes. Joy is joining us. What a day. Oh, Mike Krzyzewski is stepping down, the coach of Duke.
There's so much going on. Joel Embiid has a meniscus tear. Coach K is retiring. Brad Stevens is not out, but moving up. Danny Ainge is out. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. I said this earlier with Coach K. The industry of college basketball is changing. And Roy Williams just retired and Krzyzewski. And not that they couldn't have retired anyway, but I do think sometimes if you work in an industry and there's some abrupt changes or cultural changes and your job gets significantly harder. I've said this about college football, Joy. They now have 2 recruiting periods.
Yeah.
So it used to be college football coaches got the summer off, and those days are over. And that to me will push Nick Saban into broadcasting probably 2 or 3 years sooner than he would have. Not that Nick, it's not going to push him out tomorrow, but
yeah, I mean Coach K's 74, so he might have been retiring anyway, but it's changed.
Yeah, college basketball has changed. So last night the Lakers were blown out by the Suns. They had a 16-0 run. The Suns did in the first quarter. So the Lakers down 3-2. And where things stand today, I think the series is over. Phoenix will win. And I worry that last night might be the new reality of LeBron's career. I said this yesterday. I said the Suns are going to win this game. I believe the Phoenix Suns, when Chris Paul is 75%, 80% healthy, the Suns are better than the Lakers. Even if AD plays. I think the Suns are better. I think AD's had 2 or 3 amazing quarters, but you can't depend on him. I can depend on Chris Paul when he's healthy every quarter. His leadership doesn't go away. His toughness doesn't go away. I can't depend on AD even when he's healthy. I don't know if I get aggressive AD. So I think the Suns are a better team. But, in the past, when LeBron teammates let him down, and it was often, let's be honest about this. It was injured teammates. J.R. Smith goes kooky. Kyrie flakes out. LeBron had the ability to rise, put on the Superman cape, and carry them. He doesn't. He's scored more than 40 points one time this year. In the playoffs, he's 20th in scoring. D Rose of the Knicks, on a bad wheel, averages more than LeBron in the playoffs. Since LeBron scored 40 points once this year, 42 other guys have scored over 40 points. Even Tom Brady, as he aged, he's still great. We watched him. But he can't carry slow wide receivers in New England. He barked and yelled at them. LeBron has a turbo button, right? All great players push the turbo button. LeBron's still works, but just not very long. There's a video game I bought for the kids, and it had a turbo button. It was race cars. You can race through cities. It was really fun. It had a turbo button. And he gave you about 6 seconds of turbo. Now, LeBron's is longer than that, but not that much longer. His turbo goes about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, both ends of the floor, and then he's older. And Kurt Schilling, the great pitcher, once told me, as he aged, he goes, I still had the fastball. I didn't lose my fastball. I just have 12 a game, not 70. So I would go into a baseball game knowing I got 12 heaters. I can go 96 miles an hour 12 times. So I'm not going to throw it unless it's 2 strikes or runners on. I got 12 of them. And that's now where LeBron is. And that's okay. The turbo button, it still works. But the Lakers now, as we said a couple days ago, they've become that Cavs team where Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. The difference is LeBron in that series, that final, he averaged 34 points and a triple-double. He's averaging 22 points a game in the playoffs. That's what LeBron's become. And so he got the fastball, but the turbo button doesn't last very long. The question's going to become in this franchise, because we knew Andre Drummond wasn't coming back and Dennis Schroeder, salary cap casualty, won't come back. The question is, what do you do with Anthony Davis? Because as I said yesterday, Anthony Davis was always hurt in New Orleans. You just didn't watch. So Laker fans got last year's Anthony Davis, who got a 4.5-month hiatus due to the pandemic. Everybody's like, I love AD. You can depend on AD. And no, in New Orleans, they could increasingly not depend on AD. He is not healthy. He is never committed to his body, and therefore his body doesn't really commit to him. LeBron, Brady, Russell Wilson, a lot of guys out there, they spend millions of dollars a year, year-round, their own trainers, to be in great shape. Anthony Davis is closer to Big Ben. God gave him natural genetic gifts. His off seasons are a little light in the sweat department. A couple yoga classes, grab a ball, shoot around. But AD came into this season out of shape. And good luck in a condensed season trying to play yourself in shape. So Charles Barkley was not exactly subtle last night talking about Anthony Davis and the Lakers.
Forget about the championship. They can't win this series without street clothes.
I'm not even... You want to explain that?
I call him Anthony Street Clothes Davis because he's always in street clothes.
Harsh, but true. Now, LeBron doesn't want to get rid of AD. He does have a little psychological edge here. He can go to AD and say, bruh, we gave you a 5-year deal, Clutch Sports. My guy, Rich Paul, we gave you a 5-year deal. You got to come in shape. Can't play yourself in the shape. You got LeBron's got a little psychological edge on him. It's like, hey, I was going to hand the baton to you, and you didn't show up. And Anthony then has to look himself in the mirror and really come into shape. But it's also about commitment. We hear this all the time, Joy, about athletes. How committed are they? And I've said, you're not going to find anybody more committed in the history of sports than Tom Brady, even more so than LeBron. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers won't take a pay cut. Tom Brady will. Commitment is Tim Duncan took pay cuts. Brady took pay cuts. You want to talk commitment, LeBron now has to look himself in the mirror. Because an old, expensive Kobe couldn't make the playoffs. An old, inexpensive MJ couldn't make the playoffs. An old, expensive LeBron going to be first round and out. What do you want to be? How committed are you? LeBron's got a $900 million net worth. I am never here to tell people to take less money, especially athletes. I can do this radio, TV thing forever. They got about 15 years to hit it. But it's going to be interesting. AD's got to look himself in the mirror. Do not come into a season and play yourself into shape. And LeBron has to look in the mirror and go, do I have to work out my contract a little bit here eventually? Take a little less to have a little more help? I think it would help in the pursuit of championships. But it's going to be an interesting offseason. This series is over. It's over. Now, Phoenix a better team. Chris Paul's injury is easier to navigate. AD was grimacing in warm-ups. Series is over. All right, so let's talk about the breaking news today. It started early this morning. Woj, Chris Mannix, Shams Charania, who we had on the show, all great reporters, all various stages of this. Danny Ainge is out in Boston as the head of operations. Brad Stevens, the coach, now replaces him, and then they're looking for a coach. So we don't know who's going to be the coach. It's not going to be Coach K. Come on, let's move on past that. That's Twitter.